What's going on, guys? I'm Jada Black. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about Carmelo Anthony, Lala Anthony. Apparently, Lala, I believe, is giving an interview because she's been talking a lot recently, even though they have already separated. Carmelo haven't really said much of anything on the marriage. He's moved on. But Lala hasn't, because Lala's identity is Carmelo Anthony. No matter what she does in acting, Carmelo Anthony is Lala Anthony's identity. So she's talking about how the trade to the New York Knicks ruined their marriage. And we're going to get into it. It is on, this article here. Yes, this was really said according to Bro Bible. She says that the trade to the Knicks is what ruined that marriage. That is according to her, even though she also said how she was very nervous about him going on the road and cheating with groupies. That's what she has said. It's almost like she doesn't know what destroyed this marriage. But what I will say is this. Carmelo Anthony had a very good situation with the Denver Nuggets. And because he had a good situation, people were baffled by why would he want to leave. Now, you got to understand, the New York Knicks was not the team that was first presented out there at first. It wasn't until right when the trade was getting done and we're hearing about the New York Knicks, especially from my perspective, because he just wanted to leave out of the blue. I mean, you had a playoff team in the Denver Nuggets, a better team than what was in New York. But he wanted to leave. He wanted to go to New York. And there was talk that Lala Anthony was a part of that decision. And I agree with that. I just find it funny how now she's trying to revise history and make it seem like it was all Carmelo's decision, basically, to go to New York. Because that's how it was coming off, as if it was not his decision. I do think Carmelo did want to play in New York, but I don't think it was because he just wanted to play in New York. He did it because he wanted to help her career. Because as soon as he got traded to the New York Knicks, Lala Anthony had a reality show. It's like no sooner did he step foot in New York, did she have her reality show. I don't think that's a coincidence. She knew not only that he wanted to be traded, but she made sure that it was New York because it benefited her acting career. And now all of a sudden she's talking about how it ruined her marriage. I think to Lala, everything ruined her marriage except her. It's almost like she takes no accountability for why that marriage fell apart. Like most women these days, they take no accountability for why their relationships fall apart. You play a role in why your relationships don't work. You can't sit there and blame this and blame that and blame this. Ultimately, you're going to have to look yourself in the mirror. Ultimately, you're going to have to account for your decisions that you made in your relationships, right? So let's get into this article from Bro Bible. It says, getting as much money as possible is typically the biggest thing on the mind of most NBA players who enter free agency. But if I've learned anything from the conversations that spawn whenever a big name is up for grabs, it's that you can't overlook the value that comes with playing for what is frequently described as a big market team. There are obviously plenty of upsides that come with playing in the likes of Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York City. But for Russell Westbrook has learned anything during his time on the Lakers, it's that you're also opening yourself up to plenty of criticism you might not be subjected to if you opt to take your talents to somewhere like Utah or Memphis or Oklahoma City. Playing a big market can be a gift and a curse for a variety of reasons. Larger media outlets can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. And while you'll have access to plenty of perks smaller cities might not be able to offer, it's very easy for them to turn into a dread off-court distraction. Carmelo Anthony learned that the hard way when the Denver Nuggets traded him to New York Knicks in 2011, and based on what his ex-wife Lala had to say about what transpired following the move. The transaction also marked the beginning of the end of their marriage. Now, I want y'all to understand this. This was in 2011. They separated, I believe, in 2018, 2019-ish, right? So that city was a distraction for the both of them. You know, why were both of y'all distracted? Because I think that's what it was. That's why I say Carmelo. Not only did Carmelo have a better team in Denver, it was a better situation for his personality. If you look at Carmelo's personality, he's not the one to want to be just it to me to be in a big market. I could be totally wrong. But you know, Lala, who filed for divorce in 2021 after being married to Melo for close to 11 years, discussed that fateful trade during a recent appearance on Call Her Daddy, where she outlined how NYC caused things to deteriorate, saying, "When we moved to New York, I'm from New York, so being back was nothing new. But when we lived here under all of that pressure, that's when things became complicated. Now that I look back, I think that was the start of the demise of the marriage." Do you know why that was the demise of the marriage, Lala? It was because Carmelo, I don't think deep down wanted to be there. He realized that he was going to be on a bad basketball team or an average basketball team. He wasn't going to do a whole ton of winning, right? He was getting a lot of scrutiny. He wasn't happy in that situation. When you go to a big market team, I've seen it where players go to a big market team, they embrace it. They thrive on it. They love being in a big city. But if you're telling me years later that you feel like all that pressure got to you, it's because you weren't ready for that pressure. Carmelo wasn't ready for that pressure. I don't care what he told himself. He talked himself into wanting to go to New York. Because I believe he felt like not only was he helping himself, he was helping you as well. And it's because Carmelo's playing for an NBA team in New York, right? Why does that affect the marriage? Why does playing in New York affect the marriage? Unless he was stressed from the moment that he got there. Maybe he was having some regrets. But this is one of the first times that I've seen a wife or an ex-wife talk about how a trade to a different team in a bigger city caused the demise of their marriage. That's because that marriage was probably on the rocks before you even went to New York. Or maybe because one person in that marriage felt like it wasn't worth it. With the scrutiny in the media and the press, just everything, it is really hard. That's not the only reason things didn't work out, but things got tough with New York. It's constantly being under the spotlight, people watching every little thing. So why did he go to Los Angeles and play with the Lakers there? Denver was so laid back. New York is like, I gotta get on my grind. Then I started really going overdrive with my career and wanting things to go that way. So it's like he's doing his thing, I'm doing mine. Because once again, people, it was about her career. She was thinking about her career. That's what she was thinking about. She also says she found out her ex-husband had a habit of getting into some trouble in certain places on the road that might not be at the top of your list when it comes to cities that offer the most temptation. I would be like, oh, those are the problem cities like Miami. I'd be like, oh, I'm definitely not sleeping tonight, or I'm going to figure out a way to get there. But here's what I found out. Be careful with those other cities that you think don't have much going on, because those are the ones where the shit is going down. Well, that could be true. Like you can never judge a city by its size. You know, you can go to Buffalo. You know, there's probably a lot going on in Buffalo that you may not know. You know, people say, "Oh, Buffalo, that's small," but it's a lot going on. you may not know. Seattle's not small, but it just doesn't matter. Charlotte, there's temptation everywhere. It depends on how weak you are. And to me, there was insecurities there from the get-go. He's an NBA player. He's going to visit these cities regardless. He's on the road half of the time, right? So things are going to happen. But I just found it funny how Lala is talking about how the move to New York caused the demise of the marriage. And she seems very sure of it. How did it cause the demise? Is it because he realized he realized that you wanted that acting career badly and you were focusing more on that than anything else? And that he wasn't quite comfortable being in New York? Because for you to want to go to New York, you have to embrace it. He never embraced it. It seems like, according to Lala, because it caused strain in the marriage. Why would his on-court situation strain the marriage? The media, there's media everywhere. Denver is not I would consider a small market. Denver is not only Denver is a big city, it's a big enough market to matter. And he dealt with media there. It's not New York, it's not Los Angeles, but it's not that small. I just think he wasn't truly prepared. He talked himself into going to New York. He felt like it would be a good situation to play in New York. He went to college at Syracuse. Lala going back home. She had a lot of input on that decision. It was not just Carmelo wanting out to go to New York. It's a situation where they both wanted to go to New York, because that was in 2011. They were probably in two different mindsets at the time than they are now. See, she's more reflective because of where she is, her age, and the fact that she's, kind of still single, even though, according to her, and put this article up, according to her, only 20-year-old or 22-year-olds want to date her. This is a flex for a lot of 40-something women, right? It's a flex. Lala spends the majority of her time posting thirst traps, even though she has a teenage son, right? She spends the majority of her time posting thirst traps, hoping to land maybe another NBA player, possibly a rapper, right? She was dating her co-host on BMF. I don't know how long that has lasted. Maybe that nothing's going on there. But she's like a lot of these women when they hit 40, they're single. There's no relationship in sight. They're probably a divorcee, and they're reflective, and they're trying to figure out why they can't get a man. Maybe that's what it is. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And